Imagine waking up tomorrow. No internet, no electricity, no police, no government, no supermarkets, no help. Only silence. Would you survive? Or would you become another forgotten name? For thousands of years, humans built castles, fortresses, walls. Not because they wanted war, but because they hoped they would never need them. I've been watching you build them for a very long time, and today your fortress looks different. Hidden beneath the earth, silent, invisible. A bunker. Not built out of fear, but for one simple reason: to give life one more chance. Today, we're going to build the ultimate survival bunker. Not a fantasy, not something from a movie. A shelter designed to survive almost anything. Nuclear fallout, earthquakes, wildfires, floods, pandemics, even the end of the world. And when it's finished, it will be the safest place for 100 miles. Let's begin. It starts here. An ordinary field at dawn. Grass, wind, nothing special. Walk past it and you'd never look twice. Remember this exact spot, because by the end of this story, everything beneath it will change. And that's the first secret of a perfect bunker. It doesn't look like a fortress. It looks like nothing at all. Here's something most people don't know. In Switzerland, protecting citizens underground isn't a hobby. It's the law. Since 1963, every resident is guaranteed a place in a shelter, and today, the country has more bunker spots than people. Entire mountains have been hollowed out. Hospitals, command posts, even fortresses, hidden behind ordinary-looking doors. So no, this isn't paranoia. Some of the calmest, most peaceful nations on Earth quietly built room for everyone. The biggest mistake people make is believing a bunker can be built anywhere. It can't. Your bunker is only as strong as the ground beneath it. The perfect location is away from rivers, away from flood zones, away from unstable hills, away from fault lines whenever possible. The soil should drain water naturally. The groundwater should stay well below the bunker floor. Because if water reaches your shelter, it doesn't matter how thick your walls are, nature always wins. Some people choose forests, others prefer mountains. Some hide them beneath ordinary garages and barns. The best bunker is the one nobody notices. How deep should it be? 1 meter? 5? 20? Deeper isn't always safer. Too shallow, and blasts, fire and radiation stay dangerous. Too deep, and construction becomes brutally expensive, and escape becomes harder too. Here's the sweet spot most engineers use. 2 to 3 meters of packed earth above the roof. Every half-meter of soil slashes radiation further. Under 2 meters of cover, you'd receive hundreds of times less radiation than someone standing outside. The ground shields heat, cold, storms, even noise. Down there, the world becomes strangely quiet. Now comes the skeleton. This isn't ordinary concrete, the walls. Steel-reinforced concrete, 30 to 60 centimeters thick. Inside them, reinforcement bars 12 to 16 millimeters thick, tied into a double grid about 20 centimeters apart, woven together like the bones of a giant. The concrete is poured in one continuous operation, so there are no cold joints, no seams for pressure to find. The finished shell carries thousands of tons of earth on its back. Outside, waterproof membranes and drainage channels keep moisture away. Every pipe, every cable, every opening, sealed, because one weak point is enough to destroy everything. Want to see this idea taken to its extreme? In Colorado, the American military carved an entire city into a granite mountain. Cheyenne Mountain. Buildings resting on more than 1,000 giant steel springs. so the whole complex can ride out a shockwave like a ship rides a wave. Blast doors weighing 25 tons that can still be swung shut by hand, under 600 meters of solid rock. Your bunker won't need all that. But the lesson scales down perfectly. Don't fight the blast. Absorb it. Most people imagine a bunker door as a giant steel vault. The real thing is smarter. A residential blast door is a sandwich. 6 to 10 millimeters of steel plate over a welded frame, weighing 300 to 800 kilograms, mounted into a reinforced concrete collar. It opens outward, so falling debris can never pin it shut. Heavy locking bars spread force across the whole frame. Fire-resistant seals expand under extreme heat. Waterproof gaskets keep floods on the wrong side. And behind it, a second door creates an airlock. If one fails, the other holds. In survival, redundancy isn't luxury. Redundancy saves lives. Now, the most important system of all. Air. A bunker without clean air is just a concrete coffin. Fresh air enters through hidden intake pipes, disguised above ground as tree stumps or garden vents. Then it runs a gauntlet, a dust pre-filter, a fine particle filter, and finally the NBC unit, nuclear, biological, chemical, whose activated carbon strips out even radioactive contaminants. A family-sized unit moves about 75 cubic meters of air per hour, enough for 6 to 8 people, breathing easy. And the air system hides 2 more tricks. First, blast valves, which slam shut in a fraction of a second if an explosion sends a pressure wave down the pipe. Second, and this is the clever one, the system keeps the bunker at slight overpressure. The air inside pushes gently outward, so through every microscopic crack, air always leaks out, never in. Contamination can't swim upstream. And if every generator dies, a hand crank keeps the ventilator turning, hour after hour, powered by nothing but a human arm. Because breathing should never depend on a single machine. Power is life down here. So first, count what you actually need. Ventilation, LED lights, water pump, a small fridge for medicine, radios. For a frugal family, that's roughly 3 to 5 kilowatt hours a day. Now build backwards from that number. A battery bank of about 10 kilowatt hours rides through 2 full days. Hidden solar panels on a shed roof quietly refill it. A small 3 kilowatt diesel generator serves as backup. 200 liters of fuel, stored in a separate fireproof chamber, buys months of short daily runs. And the critical electronics sit inside a Faraday cage of simple metal shielding, where even an electromagnetic pulse can't reach them. Failure is expected. That's the whole design philosophy. You can survive weeks without food, but only days without water. So memorize the golden number, 4 liters per person per day. 2 to drink, 2 for cooking and washing. A family of 4 for 90 days. That's about 1,500 liters minimum. Double it if you can. Large tanks store it. A deep well replenishes it. Rain quietly tops it up. And every drop runs the gauntlet. Sediment filter, carbon filter, ultraviolet sterilizer, sometimes reverse osmosis. Nothing is wasted. Washing water gets recycled for the toilets. Down here, clean water stops being a utility and becomes currency. And now, the layer most people forget. Security. Because the strongest bunker is the one nobody finds. The entrance hides under a barn, a garage, a garden shed. Cameras with night vision and thermal sensors watch every approach. Vibration detectors listen through the ground itself for footsteps, or digging. Screens inside show every angle silently. And buried in the dark, leading far away from the main door, an escape tunnel. If one exit is blocked, another exists. Survival always depends on having one more option. Now let's test it. Imagine an earthquake. The ground rolls like the sea. The bunker doesn't fight the wave. Buried structures move with the earth, which is why they survive shaking that flattens buildings above. Flexible pipe joints bend instead of snapping. Now a wildfire passes over. The soil shrugs off the heat. Intake valves shut. The family breathes stored air until the smoke clears. Now the flood. Water rises over the field and stops mattering. The door is sealed. The vents reach above the waterline. The pumps hum. 3 disasters, 1 quiet room. That's what all that redundancy was for. And with that, the fortress is finished. Steel, concrete, filters, watts, and water. But here's what nobody tells you about bunkers. The concrete was the easy part, because a fortress keeps death out, and that's only half the job. Now this cold grey shell has to do something much harder. It has to keep life going inside. It has to become a home. Open the pantry. These shelves aren't filled with luxury. They're filled with time. The target, 2,000 calories per adult per day. For a family of 4 over 90 days, that's roughly 720,000 calories. A wall of food about the size of 2 refrigerators. Completely doable. Freeze-dried meals that stay good for 25 years. Rice, beans, pasta, salt, cooking oil. And honey. Archaeologists have opened honey from ancient tombs, thousands of years old, still perfectly edible. Everything labelled, everything rotated. Because down here, inventory isn't boring. Inventory is life expectancy. Comfort suddenly becomes survival. Good sleep means clear decisions. Clear decisions keep people alive. Bunk beds save precious space, and every bed hides storage underneath. Thick insulation keeps the machine's hum away from the pillows. Small curtains give every bunk privacy, because even 50 meters underground, humans still need a tiny world of their own. The least glamorous room, and one of the most important. Waste becomes dangerous very quickly in a sealed space. Composting toilets that need no water. Chemical backups. Sealed storage vented straight to the surface. Strict hygiene routines. Because in a bunker, disease is the enemy that walks in without triggering a single sensor. Hygiene isn't comfort, it's defense. A small injury outside can become fatal underground. So every serious bunker carries more than a first aid kit, trauma supplies, antibiotics, emergency medications, a defibrillator, oxygen, splints and bandages, and thick medical reference books printed on paper because screens can fail. When hospitals disappear, your bunker becomes one, and someone inside should know how to use every single item on that shelf. One room stays quietly sacred. Communication. A shortwave radio with a hidden antenna disguised as a flagpole can hear voices from the other side of the planet. No internet, no satellites, no permission needed. A hand-crank receiver catches emergency broadcasts. Because the plan was never to hide forever, the plan is to know when it's safe to come back. Information down here is a supply, as vital as water, and lighter than a can of beans. Eventually, even the deepest pantry runs out. That's when life must begin again. Hydroponic gardens, plants growing in nutrient water, no soil needed. LED grow lights playing the role of the sun. Microgreens ready to eat in under 2 weeks. Mushrooms thriving happily in the dark. And a small vault of seeds. The same idea, by the way, that made humanity carve a seed vault into an Arctic mountain, holding backup copies of over 1 million crops. Even underground, nature refuses to quit. And now, the most important room of the entire bunker. It isn't armored, because walls don't break people. Isolation does. Days become weeks. Weeks become months. Without sunlight, without wind, without birds, without seasons. The human mind slowly bends. So exercise becomes mandatory, not optional. Books become treasures. Music becomes therapy. Bright lamps mimic morning light to keep the body's clock alive, dimming to warm dusk in the evening. Sometimes surviving isn't about food, it's about hope. And we know this works because some humans already live this way. Submarine crews spend 3 months sealed in a steel tube under the ocean. Astronauts spend half a year in a station the size of a house. The ones who thrive all share the same secret: structure, a schedule. Wake, work, exercise, dinner together, lights out. It sounds boring. It's the opposite. Routine is the handrail the mind holds on to, when the world outside has none. During one family's practice drill, I watched their daughter tape her drawings to the concrete wall next to her bunk. A sun, a tree, a dog. Her mother asked what she was doing, and the girl said, "Making windows." I've seen a lot of engineering in this bunker. Steel doors, blast valves, Faraday cages. But I'm not sure any of it is smarter than that. And smart families rehearse. One ordinary Saturday, they walk down the stairs, seal the door, and live underground for a weekend. Just practice. The generator gets tested. The kids learn the hand crank like a game. Dinner gets cooked from the storage shelf, and every drill teaches the same lesson. The door is heavy, but the fear gets lighter every time you close it on purpose. So, how long could you actually stay down here? 30 days? 6 months? A year? 5? Here's the honest answer. It doesn't depend on the concrete. It depends on preparation. Every extra battery, every spare filter, every seed packet, every forgotten tool, and every skill you practiced. They all buy the same priceless thing: time. The family with 3 months of supplies gets 3 months of chances. The family with 3 years gets 3 years of them. And that's when you finally see what a bunker really is. Listen, a bunker doesn't store food. It doesn't store water or fuel or air. Those are just the ingredients. What a bunker actually stores is time. Time for the fires to die, time for the water to drain, time for the radiation to fade, and the chaos to burn itself out. Time for the world to become survivable again. You're not building a shelter, you're building a bridge across the worst days of history. By now you're probably wondering, what does something like this cost? Honest answer, it's a range. A professional pre-built family shelter, delivered and buried, starts around the price of a good new car. Ambitious custom builds climb into the hundreds of thousands. The billionaire silos? Millions. But here's the encouraging part. The physics is free. Earth, concrete, redundancy, planning. The principles protect a modest budget just as loyally as a fortune. The most expensive bunker isn't the best one. The best one is the one that's finished. You've probably heard the headlines. Billionaires buying old missile silos, building underground mansions with pools and cinemas and bowling alleys. Let them. Here's the quiet truth physics keeps to itself. The earth shields a modest family shelter exactly as faithfully as it shields a palace. The filters don't check your bank account. The door doesn't care who's knocking behind it. Preparation is one of the few kinds of safety money can't monopolize. Knowledge builds bunkers. Money just decorates them. In the end, The perfect bunker isn't the one with the thickest walls. It isn't the one with the biggest generator or the most expensive equipment. The perfect bunker is the one that still gives you a future when the world outside no longer can. Because survival was never just about staying alive. It has always been about making sure that one day you can open that heavy steel door, step back into the sunlight, and begin again. The sun is setting now, over that same ordinary field. Grass, wind, crickets, nothing special, except that now you know. Beneath the wildflowers, 5 rooms, a year of water, a library, a garden that has never seen the sky, and a family that sleeps a little easier. The safest place for 100 miles, and the world will never know it's there. Maybe that's the deepest kind of security humans ever invented, the kind that never needs to be seen. I'll keep watching. Next time, the heavy door swings shut, the wheel locks, and the real story begins. The first 100 days inside.